Welcome to the Industry Insider, brought to you by PromoCorner. Each week, promotional product professionals Meg Erber, Jeff Franklin, and Stephen McFadden, along with special guests, will discuss industry news, trends, and events with a focus on educating the promotional products industry. The Industry Insider, the nerdy news you need to know.
Welcome back to yet another exciting Promo Horrors episode of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA, and I'm only joined by two other lovely folks today. But before we get to them, of course, we'll tell you about our fine sponsors. We got another one of those really nice video ads, so take this in your ear holes and eye holes.
Get ready for excitement, opportunity, and of course, a little promo fun. The PPI Expo is where the industry goes to build connections and discover insights for a successful year in promo. Exhibits open January 16th through 18th, and the PPAI conference will take place January 15th.
Excellent work, PPAI. I love the video, and honestly, it gives me all of the FOMO and hype that I need. I've already registered. If you haven't, definitely go do it now. Registration is open. Meg Erber, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually excited about it as well. Like, I think we just registered, and they actually just sent out like our uniforms to pick from, and I'm like really excited about what we're wearing. So, I mean, that's just what all of us girls do anyway, right, Jeff? We get excited about what we're wearing.
Yeah, I've got one of those sweet Adidas polos coming, I believe, right?
Oh,
is that what's happening?
So. I think so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Otherwise, everything has been pretty good. It's like coming down off of Promotions East. You know, I'm so just exhausted. I think so much went into that, and I'm just kind of glad that it's over.
Yeah, I'm just glad that you're showering again because the hair actually looks okay today. So.
Thanks.
All right, we're joined today by a special guest, Jimmy Visney from American Solutions for Business, and super excited to have you on for this Promo Horrors episode, sort of rounding out the Promo Horrors actually, and super excited to have you on and sort of talk about things. But before we do that and jump into the topic, of course, it is customary for us to give our special guest a good 3 to 4 minutes to introduce yourself, maybe tell us how you got started in the promotional products industry and what you've been up to since. So first of all, thanks for joining us and take it away.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's good to see you guys. So yeah, I've been in the business about 20 years now. Got my start just really kind of on accident. It seems to be the common theme among about everybody I talk to is no one usually starts out in this industry. They kind of just end up in it. But I started out as a freelance writer, and I ended up taking a job with Corporate Express just as a hired hand to write their catalogs. So I was like researching product and writing their big catalogs for like UPS and Waste Management. And I had no background in the industry at all. And so all I did all day was just research these products online with the suppliers and turn around and put that into copy for their catalogs. And then I was dating a girl at the time who was working at a small promotional company, and I had dinner with her and her bosses at the time. And they're like, "Why don't you come, over here and sell for us?" I'm like, "I have no interest at all in selling promotional products. Thanks, but no thanks." And he's like, "Just give it a shot. If you don't like it, it doesn't work out, no worries. Go do whatever you want to do." I'm like, "Fine." And so I gave it a shot, and then, fast forward 20 years later, I'm still selling promotional products.
Same company?
I'm sorry. For first 17 or so, 18 years, it was with that small kind of mom and pop shop here locally. And then about a year and a half or so ago, I switched over to American Solutions for Business.
Okay. That's amazing. We know some awesome folks over there. And matter of fact, Jimmy, you're gonna have to forgive me because I think in these last 3-4 years that we've been living in, we've had so many different people from this industry come on this show, and I've gotten to know them better through all the virtual meetings that sometimes I'm like, I don't remember now if I know them BC, before COVID. So I was the other day, the first time I met you in person. Please say yes.
No. No.
Damn it. I'm the worst.
It's funny. Yeah, I think I bumped into you a couple of times in Vegas. And we had conversations. I'm sure it was very memorable. But I'm sure you had like 8,000 people come up to you all the time and be like, hey, so I did.
This is pre-recorded. Can we cut this out? No, I'm just kidding. That's embarrassing.
Oh, no, this is the best material we've had in the 240 some episodes.
So nice to know that I'm so memorable. But yeah, no, I was like, I'm like, hey, how you doing? And we had a conversation for a few minutes, I believe. I can't remember. This is pre-COVID in Vegas. And you're like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I walked away and I was like, she probably doesn't remember who I am.
Well, I will say, you have such a great online persona. And then when you meet somebody in person, they're not doing that jumping through the air, their pictures. Sometimes it's hard to where do I know them from?
Yeah.
And it was funny when I saw him, it was actually at our VIP event, and I was looking at him. I'm like, I know him from somewhere. But our event has become so big. We have hundreds of sales reps there. We have our mills. We have our customers plus ones. So I'm like, I don't want to make a mistake. Do I know you? And I did. And it was, we were talking, but not, it was across the table. But so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We had a conversation a long time ago about jiu-jitsu because I was training for years. And I think that's, I can't remember how and where we met, but we had that conversation as well a long time ago.
Now it might be ringing a bell because I love to talk jiu-jitsu. So there's not that many in our industry that have done it or do it. So now it's taking me back. I'm sorry.
All right. No worries.
Well, Jimmy, I like you so much better already because I see you've got a hockey logo on that mug that you're drinking out of. So, you're obviously a hockey guy, which is that's awesome. You're good people.
Yeah, my boy plays hockey. So yeah, it's my passion to watch him play.
That's super cool.
I love it.
All right, Jimmy. Well, like I said, this is a Promo Horrors episode, and we are here to talk about some Promo Horrors. It is October 25th when this video is being broadcasted live. This is pre-recorded, obviously, as Meg is already let on. But, we're getting close to Halloween, so you've got to have a pretty good Promo Horrors episode here for us. Let's get into the tale, sir.
Yeah, awesome. So I've got a million.
Well, let's start off with the most memorable promo horror story you encountered in your career. Let's start there, unless you want to save that one for the last. But
no, that's fine. Let's I'll dive right into this one since it's this was pretty early on in my career. And are you familiar with a UFC fighter named Evan Tanner?
Yeah.
Yeah, former middleweight champion way back in the day. So in 2008, he came kind of back into the limelight. He had come off a couple losses, and he reached out to the public and said, hey, I'm coming back. I want to, have not your typical sponsors, but I want to have all my fans sponsor me. Right. So he was going to produce a t-shirt, and being the nerd that I am in UFC, I read all the articles and saw, all the videos and everything else. And he posted this online letter basically stating his intentions, and I was at the bottom of the article had an email address. I'm like, I'm going to reach out. I'm a super nerd fan. Surely he wants to do business with me. So lo and behold, they responded, and I was like, hey, I just want to be a part of this. Can I sponsor your t-shirts? Can I take care of that aspect for you and get that off his plate? And they're like, absolutely, yeah, go for it. So we did, and it wasn't a massive order, but it was a few hundred t-shirts. And this is back in the day when everyone wanted affliction. They wanted the all over print, they wanted the bedazzling, they wanted whatever crazy.
I'm guilty.
Right? Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Me too. I still have a handful of those.
I might have kept a pair of those jeans from the buckle that were
bedazzled,
yeah.
Embarrassingly, I had a couple pairs as well. Yeah, we won't talk about that.
No.
So I took the art and I went to a local printer, and this was kind of before the belt printers and all the crazy printing processes were really available to us as a reseller. And they're like, yeah, we can knock this out for you, no problem. And he wanted a soft imprint. He didn't want the plastisol. He wanted like a discharge imprint where it pulls the ink out of the garment. And so they get ready to print, and a few days in, they're like, hey, we're having a problem with this print. I guess when they did the discharge, it pulled the ink out of the black tee, and it wasn't a white print like he wanted. It was like this amber khaki tan hideousness. And I'm like, oh no. I mean, these are like his walkout shirts. Like these are his crew is going to wear this. Like all his fans are going to wear this. And I'm just panicking because, I want to impress this guy, So, we got the shirts and I sent them to him and they're like, dude, this is not good. I'm getting calls and texts from his team and they're like, and he's cutting weight right now. So he's crabby and angry. And
first off, timeout. I know that is nobody, unless you've done it, unless you've cut weight, it is by far the hardest thing that a person can go through mentally and physically as a outer body experience, all of it. It is the hardest thing to do. That is all. So you had him at his absolute lowest point in his life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it showed because you could tell in some of his messages, he was super high and it was super low. And I'm like, oh gosh. And I've been around enough, fighters and trainers and stuff to know that, this is the time period in his life right now that's like the absolute worst. So, I'm just trying to help as much as I can. I'm doing this pretty much pro bono, and it was just awful. And, I'm the kind of guy that takes every job super personal. So I just want to appease everybody as much as I possibly can. And so, I'm scrambling with my printer. I'm like, hey, what can you do? Is there anything you guys can, do at this point? And so we ended up going just back to the regular plastisol type print. And, it all ended up working out in the end. And I got him another set of shirts in time for his fight. So it didn't, ended up, it worked out for him. It didn't work out for me so much financially because I was trying to do a favor in the front. And it seems to be always the case where you're trying to do either a favor for somebody or, it's a smaller run or something that just absolutely blows up in your face. And, this was one of them. And it, unfortunately, it was like a very public kind of a blow up.
That's what I was going to say. And I know that feeling, that excitement where you have an opportunity now to sponsor somebody that's going to be not only on the main stage, but on Fox, on the UFC network, wherever that was airing at the time, pay-per-view. Exactly. And you're going to have your branding there, your design, like all of that. Yeah. And you get the opportunity. I sponsored a UFC fighter back then. I didn't have that same thing, but I've done that. And I thought it was so exciting. Like just the thrill of being able to be part of that alone was just enough for me. So I don't know if you remember Tim Williams, the South Jersey Strangler. He was actually one of my training partners. And I used to do all his shirts and then he had a chance in the UFC. So
very cool.
That was when they had already transferred over to Reebok. So it couldn't be his walkout shirt, but he always did shirts for his fans and his crowds and took pictures of them afterward. But it was really cool. Yeah. Yes, Jeff, what do you have to say? I feel the smart ass comment just
it's not a smart ass comment, but South Jersey Strangler. So was he like actually a convicted murderer? Because that sounds like Jack the Ripper or
he looks like Jack the Ripper,
Trinity Killer. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
he's actually one of the nicest guys either, but I know, but he
that's great. Meg's been training with a serial murderer, and she's somehow still alive.
Somehow, man, you see my arm. No, he's a great dude. But yeah, so I get that. I totally get that. So you were at a smaller distributor then. How did that company handle like crisis management when faced with it versus maybe how your company now?
Yeah,
handle it.
I mean, it was every man for himself.
Yeah, I bet.
I had no oversight from the ownership, or there was really no management. In fact, I was actually ended up promoted to vice president of sales over a small sales team, but I had zero authority. I had zero budget. I had zero. It's like it was here's this title. And no one really reported to me. We had no meetings, so. It was nothing at that point. You just do what you can do, and it was up to me to make things right. And I've always done that my whole career, is just make things right for the customer, eat in order if I have to. So that's what I did. I still do that even with American, but they help you out so much. They take care of communications. Sometimes with the suppliers if we need to, or the decorators, they'll help and assist with an order that goes wrong. So you're never alone at that point. I've got a whole army of people now that I can.
Yeah, I bet.
So
Now, was there did this end up in like maybe a significant positive impact on the relationship? Did you get any more orders out of this? Was it one and done? He was like, or was this like a learning lesson? You win and you learn. Was this a learning?
Yeah, this doesn't have a happy ending. He ended up, I don't know if you remember, he ended up dying like at the end of 2008.
How many times can I put my foot into my mouth during this podcast this week?
I'm impressed with the flexibility, honestly, man.
I don't know if you remember the story, but he ended up going out in the desert out in California and didn't bring enough like hydration, water, whatever. And
oh my gosh,
that story?
Right. Oh my gosh, because that's when I was just really getting into it. Like, I mean, I was like the affliction poster child, you know, and I remember that. I remember seeing this guy fight like 1 or 2 times maybe, and that was it. That's why I was like, I know him, but that I do remember. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the older I get, the less I remember until I'm reminded. Embarrassing. Okay. No, do you have any?
I didn't really have a connection with him or his team or anything per se. It was just really, it was always planned on probably just being a one-off. You know, if any of the orders ever came from it after that, that would have been great. But yeah, no, he ended up having like one more fight after that, and then went out into the desert. So yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Wow. Sorry to bring the podcast down a little bit.
No, it's okay. That's okay. Trying to think. Do you have any other questions, Deb? Do you have any other stories or anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, you said you had a ton of them. So I'm sure you've got another one that we could maybe jump into.
Yeah. I do have another one. Gosh, this was 2005, maybe 6. These are all old ones because, you know, nothing ever wrong goes new now, right? Everything I do is perfect. But I took this.
We're too raw to talk about.
Right. This was from the local science center, and they wanted to do 10,000 barf bags for their OmniMax theater as an advertisement, right? And I'm like, yeah, I could definitely do this, you know. And I took this job, and you know, not having any idea how I'm going to make this happen, because, you know, you search everywhere, and at that time it's physical catalogs. I'm not searching, you know, a whole lot of online, you know, options. Yeah. So I found like some sort of supply house that had airline equipment, and they were able to get me 10,000, you know, like a pallet of these barf bags, and no one to imprint on them. So like, yeah, we'll do a label. And so we got, you know, 10,000 labels, and you know, they shipped these all to my condo at the time, and so we had to literally hand peel and stick 10,000 labels on 10,000 barf bags. And, you know, what I was going to make a pretty good margin on after, you know, 100 hours of continuous peeling and sticking. We had, our whole condo was filled. Our offices at that small mom and pop were filled. We gave boxes to, you know, my mother-in-law. We gave boxes to, you know, whoever we could peel and stick at that time to knock this order out. I mean, like, we had paper cuts all over our hands, you know, just process. It was a nightmare.
A true horror, a true nightmare horror.
Right. I mean, people don't realize how many 10,000 actually is until you have 10,000 of something staring at you in the face. I mean,
yeah,
a lot.
When you're talking pretty large numbers that like the factories and stuff like that do, you know, a 50,000 piece order, 100,000 piece order or whatever, you know, you think, oh, that's, you know, you just, as somebody that's not in the production phase of it, you just don't have the appreciation for actually how much work actually goes into that.
Yeah,
it's insane.
It was brutal. I mean, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I just saw the numbers, and I'm like, oh, this is a great order. You know, I'm gonna knock this out of the park for them. So they had no idea, you know, on their end. So we were able to deliver it. So they're like, oh, this is fantastic. I'm just like, do not reorder. Please do not reorder. You know?
I think it would have been like, I thought you were going to come out and say, and then there was like a misspelling or like the license number. There's a number. Oh my gosh, I can't.
I would have quit.
I would have just walked away and said, this is hard.
I still carry this around with me. My memento.
Is that it?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big label
wow.
too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And like, there's no margin on either side. So, you know, to line it up with, you know, my fat fingers that was fun.
Oh, yeah, man. with such a large sticker and zero, like very little margin on either side, that's tough to line up, man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine all the crooked complaints you would have got about the imprint?
Right.
If it was this day and age, that would have ended up on social media.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
Yeah, I carry these mementos around everyone. I have a handful of little pieces that I've done over the years that, mean something. So
I do too. I love that. I have like little
That's
mementos from different things too. Jeff, do you have any back on your wall from like just any orders that you did that you loved?
Well, I mean, there's nothing on the wall at this particular point in time, but I love keeping stuff that we've done. Even I still have stuff back from when I was a distributor, like things that were kind of special to me or that I would thought was really cool. But I personally, when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's so cool to see something that you've actually done out in public, though.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Whether it's like a uniform program or, some retail, something or another, and you go out and you see people actually wearing it in public and you're like, hey, I know where that came from.
I recently helped a friend do a billboard, and it should be up by the time this airs. So maybe I'll post a picture of it. It had a Bob Ross theme.
Nice.
And so we'll see. We'll see.
Nice.
But yeah. But
Cool.
So yeah, Jimmy, I don't know if there's any other ones you wanted to add. If not, we can wrap this up. Did you have any other stories that you wanted to share? And
no, I think that's
two good ones. So we appreciate it. I think they were great, great ways to show like how things could go wrong so easily and how you fix them. Great case studies for how to do things, right, wrong, fix it, whatever. We're all human. I think at the end of this, we're all human. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's just really how you rectify it. And, and I think you can just be a human being and be authentic and be transparent. I think being transparent when something goes wrong is probably the biggest key takeaway. Is like if you have that opportunity and you can talk to your customer and be like, hey, this is the problem, but I have a solution and this is what I would like to do it. That's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear that there's a problem. They want to hear that there was a problem and that you already fixed it. And then that, I think that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes the only, the customers that see you as only as good as your last order, that's the ones that are tough to deal with. But if you develop that relationship and you do screw up an order, like, hey, things happen, let's move on to the next, then you really got yourself a good customer.
Yeah.
I try to eliminate those people from my life.
Yeah. I just finished listening to Kirby Hasseman's book. It's very good. It's like a quick 2.5 hour book. It's like a fictional story, but it's a lot of like sales lessons, and I've been learning a lot from it. And I think it's really incredible, but that's one of the topics they cover. So if you guys haven't read that book, check it out. I think it's called Hitting the Target, and it's really good. I listened to it on Audible. So I'm like, when I'm driving, I've been listening to it. So it was a really quick listen, but I would say the only downside was that I was driving when I was listening to it. So I couldn't take notes, but he actually provides at the end of it, he provides like video instruction that you can download and a PDF. So I don't know.
Nice.
Just giving him a shout out because I know he put a lot of work into it and it was really, really good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for coming in and joining and sharing the promo horrors with us on this October 25th. It's actually October 13th, Friday the 13th, by the way. But yeah, super cool to have you on, and looking forward to maybe having you again down the road at some point.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks,
and
Jimmy.
again, this podcast was brought to you by our good friends over at PPAI. Don't forget to go register now, and we'll let you watch this video one more time.
Get ready for excitement, opportunity, and of course, a little promo fun. The PPAI Expo is where the industry goes to build connections and discover insights for a successful year in promo. Exhibits open January 16th through 18th, and the PPAI conference will take place January 15th.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of PromoCorner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit PromoCorner.com.